Welcome again, grade 2s. We are on our second lesson, learning about time. And just to refresh ourselves, where we left off from last lesson, can anybody tell me what time I have on the clock right now? The shorthand is on the 7, and the long hand is on the, if you can see underneath it, it's a 12. And when it's at the 12, it means o'clock. So what time is it? 7 o'clock. Okay. Now, when I take the long hand and it goes all the way around the clock and back up to the top, the small hand went from the 7 now to 8. It's 8 o'clock. Okay, we're going to go back here to 7. Okay, so it went all the way around. And you notice the face of the clock is a circle. You've also been talking about how to divide a circle in half. So what would be between 7 and 8 o'clock? If I take this, do you know what half of the circle is going to look like? I'm going to come all the way down to the 6. Okay, so if you look at my picture, that's what half a circle is, right? Half of the circle. So my big hand needs to come all the way down to the 6. And that's been half of the circle. Now you'll notice this shorthand is between the 7 and the 8. It's not 7 o'clock anymore, and it's not 8 o'clock. It is half past 7. So half of the circle from all the way around to here is half, so it's half, and it's past 7 because it already was 7 o'clock. We're on our way to 8 o'clock, but before we get there, it's half past 7. Okay, so it moved all the way around. Okay, now let's keep going. What happens when it keeps going? Another half of the circle. We have 8 o'clock. And if we go another half of the circle, down to the 6 is half the circle. It's now half, because we did half the circle. From the 12 to the 6 was half past 8. It was 8 o'clock, but it's not anymore. We're on our way to 9. So it's half past 8. Okay, then we keep going. We'll get up to 9 o'clock. Now what happens if we move this half of the circle again down to the 6? We're going to say half past 9. It's half past 9. Keep going up the clock. Another half we get 10 o'clock. Another half of the clock, and we get half past 10. The little hand's between the 10 and 11, and it's down here, the big hand, so it's not o'clock, it's half past. So when it's up at the 12, it's o'clock. When it's down at the 6, it's half past. We'll go around again. We get up. Now it's at the 12, so we're going to say 11 o'clock. Okay? And we go around again. It's down at the 6, so we're going to say half past 11, okay, so that you can keep going. Now, I'm going to put a schedule on the board, and I want your help to tell me the time. So it might be different for each of you, but let's think of what time do we wake up in the morning? What time do you wake up in the morning? Okay, maybe 7 o'clock. Okay, you wake up at 7 o'clock. What time do you maybe have breakfast? If you're like me, I am hungry when I wake up in the morning. So I'm going to eat at half past 7. And that's how we write that, half past 7. Now, normally when you're coming to school, do you know what time you arrive at school? You arrive at school at 9 o'clock. And after we come in, we do morning warm-up, we have devotions, we have math, we have snack, and then we have recess. And recess is at half past 10. And do you know what time we get to eat again at school? Lunch happens at, oh, I realize you just can't see all the way down there. So lunch happens at 12 o'clock. And we could keep going to other things that happen in our day. For example, at supper. Maybe you have supper at 5 o'clock, or maybe you have supper at 5:30. What about going to bed? Do you go to bed at 7? Do you go to bed at 7:30, 7:30? Or do you go to bed at 8 o'clock? Okay, so remember, the long hand, when it's at the 6, it's 5:30. When it's at the 12, it's o'clock. And the little hand will tell us, the little hand tells us what hour. So 1 o'clock or 1:30. 1 is when it's in between the two numbers, okay? Now, if you open up in your textbook to page, I think for today, it's going to be page 64. So open up in your textbook to page 64. Sorry, I forgot to tell you to get that out, okay? And on page 64, press pause if you need to till you get it open, page 64 is some clocks, okay? So this is what page 64 looks like, okay? So at the top it says it's 4 o'clock. Then the yellow shows the half that I'm going to go around the circle. It is 4:30. The next one, what time is it on the next clock? Say it with me. It is 5 o'clock. And then if we look down at this one, the big hand is at the 6, so it must be 5:30. And what's the little hand? 7. It's 7:30. And then if we go down to the bottom one, the big hand's at the 6 again, so it's 11:30. Okay? Now, with your mom or dad, I want you to do page 65. Tell the times again of each of the clocks in the boxes, and you're going to do exercise 45 in your workbook. Okay? I hope you are learning lots about telling time, and that you can look around your house now and tell your mom or dad or your brother or sister what time it is, and see what time today what time did you wake up, have breakfast? When are you going to have lunch today?